the main racial theorists of the day started saying that yes, actually, Jews are Negroes.
Hey, what's up? Welcome. It's Two Peas in the Pod.
Cass.
I'm your host, Rich.
And I'm your host, DK.
And today's episode is called Hebrews to Negroes. Wake up, Black America. There's been a lot of controversy about it ever since Kyrie tweeted, the documentary. Now, the guy, Ronald Dalton, he's been around talking about it. I guess they on attack, pretty much trying to cancel the movie now, get it off of streaming platforms. And we wanted to dedicate today's show to just bringing awareness to that, what's going on in the media with Kyrie, with the NBA suspension. Farrakhan came out and addressed both Kyrie and Ye and put out a public announcement to, the community and us as a people. And we wanted to touch on some of those things. As you can see, the first clip was a scholar who basically said what he said. Right? Yeah, pretty much. It was pretty self-explanatory. That's why it's only a 10-second clip. But we're gonna get into it, man. DK, you anything that you feel specifically about everything going on with Kyrie that you want to address?
Well, before we skip over just, that scholar saying what he said, I mean, we can't really say his name. We can't give him that credit right now. But I just want to ask you, how does it make you feel, after knowing everything that your people have been through and knowing everything that we've endured in this country, how does it make you feel to see people of the other side stand up and proclaim our truth for us? I mean, does that not kind of like, ring some bells in your spirit, a little bit?
It does. It does make me feel good because at the end of the day, there's people out there that regardless of their skin color, faith, race, ethnicity, whatever, they on a mission to promote truth. And that's what I like. You get what I'm saying? Because, a Jewish rabbi coming out and admitting something like that, a scholar, a white scholar coming out and admitting something like that. Like for people to come out, and actually say, hey, listen, there's some truth to this, right? Like there's some genealogy proof, there's some historical context behind it to actually show that, hey, Negroes were the original Hebrews. And for them to come out and say that and they're not black, yeah, I tip my hat off to them and I do feel good about it, more so because I'm a person that likes to promote the truth, seek the truth. So if it's people out there that's willing to go against their religious, and I'm not going to say even go against it, but like I've been in situations and in conversations with Jewish people where one was like, yeah, like I see a lot of claim to this. I did a lot of search research, this, that, and the third. And then the other Jewish guy's like, you a Jew hater. You hate yourself and this, that, and the third, only because the guy is like speaking about the truth. And it's like, I admire that. I admire people like that.
Yeah, you gotta go against that grain for righteousness like that.
Right,
right. A lot of times you look in life and the majority will rule whether the majority is right or wrong. If you ever notice that about life, you can go through life and you can say, well, there's a lot of people doing something that's wrong, but then when I go to stand up and say what's right, all of them come against me because they like being locked in this way of they thinking or the lifestyle they living, or some things like that. So for you to have people that say, you know what, even though I was raised to look at life this way, this is how I see life now.
Right.
I think that's so spiritually strong
right.
that you can't even measure that type of strength
right.
to say I'm going against everything I was raised to believe in, which leads me to my next question concerning Christianity and the accusation that we are the real Jews. If you ever ask a Jewish person, are they a Christian, they tell you, no, I'm Jewish.
Right.
And we're the original Jews. We've been made Christian. So I'm just asking you as a person, I'm not religious, because I found no substance, if that's the best way I could say in Christianity. It was very repetitive, I didn't really get what I wanted to get out of it, but I was enthusiastic to find out that, that may not be the practice that, I'm supposed to be practicing in a religious manner. Maybe I should be practicing something that's, way deeper, that works way better, like how the Jews have the Torah in their community. They have productive families. They have productive businesses. They have children that go to school and do right, and they're studying from the Torah. Our children make hey baby songs, and they sell crack, and they go to stripper classes, and they have fatherless homes, and we've been Christians for so long. And one thing I pointed out earlier, the question I asked you earlier, well, how does it make you feel as a black man to see other ethnicity stand up for this truth, because I'm having a hard time waking black people up to it.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And it's crazy because, I tell, black people all the time, I don't think it's kind of strange you got that book, from your slave master, when you couldn't read, when you couldn't write. It was illegal for you to read and write, but they gave you a book that said this was your life. That don't make sense.
Right.
And what they do, they just shun you. They just, I don't want to talk about this, and they just walk away. So what I'm getting at is how you awaken people that like to be sleep verbs.
Shit, you can't awaken people. Let me not use the word can't. Let me say this. It's a waste of your time, energy, and effort to try to awaken someone who has no intentions on waking up. Because the first thing about waking someone up is they have to be receptive and willing to learn something new.
Right on.
And if you have no intention to learn nothing new, if your belief from the moment you was a child all the way through, if everything that you taught is what you know to be truth, and you don't want to challenge that, you don't want to look to see or validate whether that's real or not, then that means you choose to stay asleep. You can't wake a person up like that. You'll waste your time and your energy, right? So I feel like you have to go after people that are willing to learn new perspectives, willing to challenge the perspective that they already know or they already believe to be true. Like when you run across people like that, only then can someone be woken up.
So they're not hungry for it or eager to learn something new. If they're not liberal to, the knowledge that they have in their mind, you might want to just skip up on them. You can't put that in somebody that don't want that. So
right.
This Hebrew truth, just talking to our audience, this ain't something we can go push down our own people's throat, even though we might go find it to be factually true. Black people don't give a damn. You can go tell black people the truth about a lot of things, and, they want what they want in a community effort, which means, I want this to primarily be something I see everybody hop on the bandwagon with before I get on it with.
Right.
And, it's going to be a lot of people miss this great train, of rethinking, rebuilding from the inside out. What this allows us to do, and this is why I think there's a lot of controversy behind the movie, the documentary, I'd rather say, is because, once a person thinks, so shall it be. You can't start telling a bunch of Negroes to think more of themselves, because now they're going to be more when it comes to themselves.
Right.
So I think that's the problem with it. You have a lot of people who are saying, we profit off of black people thinking they're just blacked out. They know that their history starts with slaves.
And this is why, and that's another reason why people won't wake up, because for what you just said is analytical, right? You're looking at it, you're like, hold up. People's trying to block out this truth from being known in a vast majority, right, as far as the black people is concerned, because we don't want them to wake up and know that they can, be empowered, right? We benefit off of the fact that they're asleep, right?
Yeah.
We don't want them to wake up. So with that being the case, it's like it's extra hard to wake up somebody that's asleep. But on top of that, for you to spot that just shows that you are aware of what's going on, right? And if black people see that, they're trying to silence videos like Hebrew to Negroes. They're trying to silence Kyrie when he tweets something. They try to silence Kanye when he say blacks are the real Jews. Like, they try to silence these people because at the end of the day, they don't want the masses to wake up to that truth. So when you look at it like that, instead of saying, oh, this person anti-Semitic, this person anti-Semitic, because that's what the media is saying to y'all, what you should be looking at is, what are they trying to hide these people from telling us?
Or why can't they intellectually debate the facts? I mean, it's so that attack the messenger. I mean,
right.
I go through it every day in life, man. I call it an ATM. Oh, here we go, ATM move. Attack the messenger. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
I tell my black family members, I say, you ever notice, during slavery we couldn't read, wasn't allowed to read. Then when we did get our own Bible, it was thou shalt runneth and overth, and we couldn't understand that. I say, I remember being a child. When we first started getting Bibles, we could actually read and understand for ourselves. It was the early 2000s. You had to be ordained by God to even be able to read this Bible. Then when you send somebody a long text these days, they say, I'm not reading that short story. So how you read this long one that got anything to do with your life? And then when you ask them, okay, now, intellectually debate that. How do you have a book that you couldn't read? Your grandmama wasn't able to read this book. Your daddy, your mama we just not being able to read it, and y'all don't even like to read no more. So what do you know about your religion? I go to church. That doesn't mean you know anything about the religion you're taking part of.
Right.
And they don't debate it. They do not intellectual debate it. What they give you a saying. They'll say something like, well, I pray God shows you the way, the truth, and the light. You know? And they'll walk away, you know, or something crazy. Like, I'm like, my black people are lost. Like,
yeah, they are.
It's almost
like
to the point.
Ye said, my people are sick.
Yeah.
That's what he said.
And I'm starting to understand, going back to when he said slavery was a choice.
Which he really didn't slay, because we broke that down. Said for but we can kind of say that in essence people keep, you know, coining the phrase as he said slavery was a choice. But since let's just stick to that. Slavery was a choice, then yeah, it absolutely was, because you can choose to stay in bondage or you could choose to fight for your freedom. But that's neither here nor there. My question to you is, what I wanted to ask you was, do you feel that it's extremely hypocritical for Christians that go to church, love the Lord, love Jesus, say that he has skin of bronze and hair of wool, all of this, right? Identify him as a black man, basically, based off of the attributes given to him in the text. And then when people make a movie like Hebrews to Negroes and they use the Bible to validate that we are the people that Israelites and the bloodline that we came through Noah and through Abraham, and then they showing you this text, and they like, why is it so hard for a Christian who believes in Jesus Christ and believe in the Bible to jump on board and say, you know what, this is valid? Like, they're using our Bible to dictate the same word we use that we say is the gospel. They're using this to show and dictate and exercise how we are the actual Hebrews. If you are of religious belief and you are a Christian, like, I think, and that's why I'm asking you, do you believe that that's extremely hypocritical and contradictory of a black Christian to not accept the fact that
when I denounce Christianity, it's because I think that, for one, they didn't want to separate themselves from sin. They just wanted to be accepted in a sinful manner. You know, God understands our sin. He loves me anyway. You know, they didn't want to separate themselves from the world financially. They just wanted to always be out. They treated church like a lotto. Like, I'm going to put money in this plate and one day I'm going to get a blessing.
Something going to happen, yeah.
The women weren't pure. You know, you couldn't tell the difference between a woman that had never knew God and was on the stripper pole and a woman that go to church every Sunday. They got the same body count. You know, the young men that were raised out the church, they go to jail, they become gangbangers. They don't live according to their text.
Right.
You know, not saying that, you know, gang banging is wrong, or, you know, being violent. I'm not judging nobody. You know, same-sex relationships. These are all in the church now. You know what I'm saying? Not saying it's wrong, but your text that you're reading from says it. And what I started learning from Christians was, this ain't nothing but for a way for these people to hear that God has accepted their BS. Right. You know, and still loves them anyway. And if you were to go tell them,
basically, you could live in sin and still
go
repent
to heaven.
and
go to heaven as long as you practice this.
Right.
And they don't want to wake up from that, because when it comes greater learning and greater lesson comes greater responsibility.
Absolutely.
So I'm telling you now, as a Jew woman, you shouldn't be shaking. Not a black woman, but as a Jew woman, you don't need to be shaking your behind. I'm telling you now, as a Jew man, not a black man, you should be killing your brother. Rapping about genocide in your community.
And I'm telling you, as a Jew family, y'all should be turning your phones off Friday after 5 all the way through Saturday. Y'all should be having family time. Y'all should be eating together, bonding, connecting. Like, and that's the thing that you said. It comes more responsibility. And people so lazy. Our people have been so conditioned. They're so lazy and sick, like Kanye said, that they can't even fathom the idea of having to put their phone down for the rest of the Friday evening and the whole day Saturday.
You ever had
people wouldn't want to be Jewish just because that alone. Just because that part. And it's like, yo, that's the most disciplined, you know, honorable part of their faith that I like the most.
Admire and admiration that I got for them.
The fact that, like, I don't give a fuck what type of business they got going on, whatever they involved in. If you call their phone on a Friday after 5, bruh, you ain't hearing back from them until Sunday. They're not picking up that phone.
I mean, they Chick-fil-A on your ass. I mean, you got when they close, they close.
And that's why we got to get back to it. But what I want to do is play the clip of the brother Minister Farrakhan addressing us as a culture, as a black people, addressing the Kyrie situation.
I think Farrakhan on to something with this one. Let's see what he got to say, see if we connect the dots.
Right.
Condition that you have placed us in. So he saw a movie. He didn't write the movie. He wasn't the producer of the movie. He wasn't the director of the movie. somebody told him that there was a movie titled From Hebrews to Negroes.
Wake up, Black America. Wake up, Black America. That's the exact title of it. It's From Hebrews to Negroes. Wake up, Black America.
And like I said, he also mentioned right before that, you know, how our language was stripped from us, our religious practices were stripped from us, you know, our riches, you know, the ability to be a father, the ability to operate in the proper manner of a family. And when you're talking about people who put you in this condition and now have monetized this condition, and when you speak out on this, you're anti-Semitic, then we look at the past videos where it says, well, it's our belief that everyone's supposed to be our slaves.
Yeah.
You know, and you connect the dots and you say, well, you are anti-Semitic if you believe you're supposed to be anything but a slave to those people. Not all of them believe that, but a large majority, like these Hollywood ones, you know, the ones that are in the music industry, they believe that for you to have the nerve to feel like you're more than anything but a servant, but an entertainer, but something that's beneath.
Right, to even want more.
It's anti-Semitic. So we got to define, I'm talking about with a 2 P's podcast definition, what anti-Semitic, what that really means. And that's you not believing that you're supposed to be a slave. When they come with that word, anytime you stand up and say, no, we're more than what we're currently been enduring and what we're going through, yes, you're supposed to enjoy your position as a slave. And, you know, and part of me reading my my Christian word back when I was a part of religion was, you know, it said that God has appointed every king and, you know, every person in a position that, you know, when you serving that person, you're serving God. And I'm like, ain't that how they want you to see it these days? You know, they want you to, oh, well, you serving me, you're serving God. Same thing with the relationships these days. You know, they want you to feel like, you know, well, you're putting up with my BS, but, you know, you're doing this for God. And I'm like, you know, people got to wake up, man. You know, we have a better relationship with God than just going to church every Sunday, eating them same stale crackers and grape juice, you know. And, you know, but I'm telling my people this right now, and I'm getting some backlash from not from white people,
right?
You know, not from the essay. I done told a couple of essays, we can, make them refry them beans. We can. I'm gonna go with some fried chicken. We're gonna make something happen. We can. You know what I'm saying? I done got me some Indians. Told them I need some feathers for my hair. I told them we can. The Indians listen to me. The Mexicans will listen to me. But when I went to my people, man, I fell on deaf ears, man.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying? And it was like, I don't know, it was just so crazy to go tell my people some news I thought was exciting. Like, we got history now, you know, we have a culture now, you know, we have real life experts, we have a God now. All we gotta do is go get it.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Somebody stole something from us, y'all won't get it back. And they just sitting there like, well, you know, God talk about that in the Bible. Oh, the Christianity. Oh my Lord. You know, and I keep telling them, like, is your slave master's religion that valuable to you?
Right.
And I think that's where we at with this whole thing. You know, I don't feel like nothing Kyrie Irving is saying is new. I think he said on a hell of a platform. Right. I think a hell of a lot more people heard him, but it ain't new because if you look at my neck right now, I bought this necklace, I want to say about 6 years ago. When I heard this news that we're the true Israelites, and when I went and looked it up, and when I went even in the Bible and looked it up, I was like, yeah, this is true. So I adopted this belief and ideology. This is like my 6th year in my mind saying, you know, I'm supreme in this world in my own race. Not to anybody else, but I'm for damn sure not below the bottom of the barrel. Oh, no. And my life has looked like that ever since I've thought that way. You know what I'm saying? But when I thought I was just a Negro, and when I thought, well, we poor, we eat pig feet, we come from chitlins, we come from slavery times, that's all I was manifesting.
Right.
That's all I kept manifesting was pig feet. You know what I'm saying? Bad times. I was slaving people.
Pig feet, struggle, and poverty.
Yeah, the minute I sat up there and I said, you know what, I believe I'm supposed to be blessed just because I'm me. Yeah, I'm supposed to be, pig feet, struggle, and poverty. But when I said I'm supposed to be blessed just because I'm me, I feel like I'm God's chosen people. And the minute I started walking in that favor, man, I started getting all different types of
frequencies, different energy,
vibrations,
you feel different,
and everything, because in the back of my mind, I'm not supposed to struggle. In the back of my mind, I'm supposed to ball. In the back of my mind, you know,
you're the chosen people.
God chose my people, you know, and we're not the worst people in the world like what Precious show and, you know, what Boys in the Hood. And
to be honest with you, that's the real anti-Semitism right there.
They're anti.
That right there, how they portray us in media through images, through stereotypes. through television. Like literally, the one thing that a lot of Jewish people bring up is the Holocaust all the time, right? When they talk about anti-Semitic stuff and they want to bring stuff up and they want to point right back to the Holocaust and basically
this is what's going to happen if we don't shut y'all up.
And it's basically like to divert the whole conversation. But the reason why I brought that up is because at the end of the day, the Holocaust took place, slavery took place, but we can't be in the middle of a conversation and then whenever we feel like we don't want to engage in the conversation any further, just jump in and throw up slavery. Hey, slavery, like, yeah. And I mean, they talk the Holocaust and they throw it up. Yeah, so the reason why, another reason why I was saying that is because at the end of the day, with Negroes being the original Hebrews, right? And in the Bible, again, going back to Christians, it says that God's chosen people will rise up, come back to claim what's theirs, right? And that's kind of what we kind of see and manifest now. But it's like the same people that go to church and believe in the Bible would still not acknowledge the fact that that prophecy is currently being fulfilled.
I want to guesstimate to say about 7-8 episodes ago, we pointed out that they're only learning 3% of their text. And they don't like to read.
Right.
If you want to see if anybody in your church community reads, send them a long text.
What was that? The Hope Dealer versus Dope Dealer
episode? The Hope Dealer versus Dope Dealer episode.
Yeah.
They only teach 3% of the Bible to the people. And anytime you want to see for a fact, do people in your congregation read? I want you to send them a long text. Just send them a text that look, and they're gonna say, "I'm not reading all this." How you want to read you want to read a text, but you want to read your Bible?
Yeah.
Nah, black people don't read. Let's just be 1,000.
And then they read the passages that they know since they was a child.
With what they want
over and over again.
Respect thy mother and father.
The same few scriptures that they can go to, like in John and Mark, like specific little ones, Psalms 123.
And they just hop around there and they been doing that, bro, for generations. And you be telling them like, look, y'all children. The Bible says that don't judge a tree to see if it's good. Judge the fruit.
Right.
If the fruit good, the tree good.
Right.
Our children, and I be screaming at the black people, our children don't turn out to be nothing, generation after generation after generation. You as a mother and as a father, when you're doing your best traditionally in the black community, you putting them in church.
Right.
You putting them in church. You put them in school, and they still not turn out to be nothing.
Because those I'm gonna call them those constructs aren't there to produce them to be anything.
Then why do we as black people think
but sleep?
Yeah, but why do we as black people think that we did our children a justice by working a job that'll never be able to be left to them? I remember pointing out a couple episodes ago that in a Judaism practice, a man must leave his son a business so that his son don't be out here gang banging and be out there. And that's why I say the Bible is incomplete, because I ain't never read that in the Bible. I've read a lot of good advice in the Bible, but I never read what God ordered the father. I mean, a law.
That your son becomes a man at 13.
At 13.
You have to prepare him for life. So by 13, he can transition into manhood.
We don't
do what
get
he gotta
that.
do.
We don't
and that's
get that.
That's a beautiful lesson to be taught in something that a culture can strive off of, for real.
You know what I'm saying? So I open their book and I see, wow, how to be a father 101, how to get my child from birth all the way to Wall Street, to millions, to owning real estate, all the things that they do. You feel what I'm saying? Oh, it's right here in this book. Well, what about how to do that in my book?
It's not there.
It's not. Oh, there's some good information in there, but it's not there. And I've been telling black people, I said, this Bible's incomplete. I said, it's a nice, good intro. I said, but what we need to get to is that Torah.
Which is real funny, right? Because when you really think about it, the Torah is basically the Old Testament in the Bible. The Torah is the Old Testament.
And if you ask black folks, what about the Old Testament? What's the first thing they say?
We under the new covenant. We under the new covenant, right? And this is how silly it is, right? Because when you think about it and how the world operates and how things goes, I'm not 100% certain because I wasn't there at that time, but I wouldn't be surprised to think that the New Testament was created specifically for African American slave people. Like that's what because the Old Testament has more structure, more law, more morals, more guides, more things to follow and abide by that's going to be productive.
And God wasn't friendly.
And then the Jewish people don't even acknowledge the New Testament.
You would never hear a Jewish person say they're Christian.
And it's basically, and look, and I'm gonna break it down slower. We all sing belly. fucking dope ass movie, classic. Am I lying?
I'm not lying.
Classic. Belly 2.
Yeah, it was whack. Yeah.
The producers wouldn't even like, you get what I'm saying? Like the people from Belly 1, they wouldn't even bring Belly 2 up in a discussion, bro.
Yeah.
You know why? Because they're gonna say, yo, that shit is disrespect to what we built. And this is how I feel Jews look at the New Testament. Like we study the Torah, the Old Testament. We go by Abraham, right? We not rocking with no Jesus Christ died for us sin. Like, you get what I'm saying? Like, that's not even
in there. But see what and what I'm trying to say, how disrespectful is it for you to say we did away with my father's law? You know, like you look at the Old Testament, man, that's your daddy law, man. That's what your daddy told you, God told him.
And now you're saying we under new covenant, you got to follow my law, so disregard everything my daddy put in place before. Yeah, that don't even make sense. And then even when the Jews that do acknowledge Jesus and talk about it, whatever the case may be, the reality of it is they still lean to the Torah. They still lean to the Old Testament.
They never gonna claim
They
Christianity.
never.
So what I don't understand about Christian people is, in your Bible, it says that the chosen people are the Jews, the people out there are the Gentiles. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? Jesus never called himself a Christian.
Nope.
Jesus never collected money when he preached. You know, all the things that they're doing, like.
But we knew Jesus was a Jew.
We knew Jesus was a Jew, though. Okay.
Fact.
So my only point is the way you run your church. Collecting the money. Jesus never did that in Matthew, Mark, Luke, or John. He never collected money to run the ministry. Mm-hmm. So that your ministry out of pocket from there, your children don't turn out to be right, and you're not reading or practice. Like, I know anybody who's a part of these different religions, like Muslim religion, they pray 5 times a day. Mm-hmm. You know, they very engulfed into their way of faith, their faith, and it separates them from the way of life. Black people go to church once a Sunday, and they done got to the point where you can't tell me I'm not supposed to be sinning like verbs. You know, even though the Bible say if I accept Christ, it's supposed to be a clear difference between me and somebody else.
Bro, you made the clear distinction earlier. You can't tell the difference between a sinner or a saint outside of the church doors.
Outside the church doors, you know. And I'm trying to explain this to my people, but it didn't got to the point where it's like, nah, we need more. You know, especially with me being a father and I got my sons. It's like, nah, I'd rather go pick up a Torah and just accept the fact that, you know what, this is the answer. Let's try this. We've been trying this for 400-500 years. Let's try this.
Let's go this way.
Let me try opening up a business, and instead of just saying I'm gonna pray over my son and send him to college and tell him we'll get a job.
Let me start training him on the business from 8 years old.
Hey, son, we make shoes in this, you know what I'm saying? Well, we got a shoe store. You know, I got one on the north side, I got one on the south side. When I die, you get all of it.
Right.
You know, you can sell it, start your own stuff. You can keep whatever you want to do, but you got something to start off life with, son. We are putting our they got bar mitzvahs. Well, they got the little boy. They finna shower him down with money, hook him up with the business connect. This in their religion.
At 13.
Our black people say that our young men ain't nothing, but you ain't giving them nothing to start with. And we gonna point out to you that anything times 0 is what? 0.
They got their sons to be men and successful at 13.
And invest in them.
And the black community got their children, for the most part,
to be robbed.
To be out on their own at 18.
And to come back and buy your mama a house. Right. Yeah, come back and give me some money. Come back, let me claim one of your children. You know, like, and I feel like we didn't get too comfortable with that to the point where when you're hearing people saying we're more than that, you're hearing some black people who just like the Jewish and the white people they accuse of taking advantage of their black people. You hear the black people who are taking advantage of their black people get upset at that truth. You feel what I'm saying? Like, hold on, I'm profiting off, you know, these Negroes being ignorant, even though I'm a Negro. And I feel like it's become a lot of those people. It's true. And I feel like in every parts of life, you got a lot of black people who say, I may not be moving away in totality, but yeah, I mean, you know, my hustle is another nigga that's, you know, bumming or, you know, that's slipping or, you know, whatever case may be. And you come and telling me I'd have had the utmost respect for him because that's God's chosen child. And, man, well, where I'm gonna get my legs licked? Or we got to all come together, work together. I kind of like beefing with that side of town. You know, you got some people who's falling in love with our conditions. And we don't want to admit it. We complain about our conditions. But we make Thanksgiving coming up, I guarantee you, 90% of black people got some part of the pig that ain't got no part of being on the table. On that table, from the feet to the intestines to the pig skin to hog head cheese, you know, all I'm talking about. Not even a good part of the pig. I'm talking about, you know what I'm saying? This is what we ate during slavery. It's like, you know, and it's like, whoa, what
Yeah, that's crazy to me.
but you still eating it, so you still a slave.
Yeah.
That's why you still eating it.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So
as much as y'all sit back and play victim to slavery,
They
but y'all
love
want to
it,
sit
man.
back and eat slavery food
because
once a year.
they love their conditions, man. Sometimes you can fall in love with your oppressor. You can fall in love with your
That's been proven.
Yeah, you can fall in love with your oppressed situation. I mean, you ever seen a pimp in a hoe type situation? The hoe got a little love for the pimp. You know, she kind of attached.
A
to him.
lot of love.
A lot of her. She's attached. So I feel like black people, aka Hebrews. People, I think we done fell in love with the pimp and hoe mentality that we got in America. We like being America's hoe. We like getting used. We like prancing around.
And we like crying about it. Not doing nothing to effectively produce change. We just want to complain and cry about it.
So we have a pimp and hoe relationship with America, where America's the pimp, we the hoe. Everybody telling us to leave right now. So I'm trying to break it down to where y'all can see how we are as a people. Everybody saying, hey, you don't see how he treat you. Everybody saying you don't see how he with other women. This what be going on. You know what I'm saying? You don't see how he beat you, how he take all your money. He loves me. That's what black people are at right now. That's what Hebrew people are at right now with America, with Christianity.
Wake it up, bro.
It's been beating us up for so long.
Wake it up.
But we love being a hoe. We love getting pimped, man. You feel what I'm saying? And I done got to the point where you're like, you know what? It was this scene in What's Love Got to Do with It. And Ike Turner was an abusive man. I don't know if y'all new school, you know, I know I'm old school followers know who Ike Turner is. You know what I'm saying? But Ike Turner was abusive. He was whooping Tina Turner. And one day they was in a restaurant and he made Tina Turner eat some cake. And Tina Turner friends
Eat the cake, anime.
Yeah. And Tina Turner friend said, Ike, leave her alone. Ike got up, slapped her too. Bop. And she told Ike, F you, Ike, you only got to slap me one time. I feel like her right now. And she got up, she left the bed, she walked out. Yeah, went found her some good Buddhist religion or something like that. Yeah, but she ain't go through what Tina Turner continue to go through.
Right.
And sometimes you gotta
and you would say at that point Tina Turner chose to continue going through that, right?
Because
which goes back to what slavery. I mean, what Kanye said, right?
saying.
You chose to continue taking them lickings, continue taking them whippings.
And let's talk about it. And let's talk about why he said slavery was a choice. And I just want to break it down. Okay,
because today people still enslaved mentally.
No, I'm talking about back then. People want to say that back then he was disrespecting our ancestors back then, and no, he wasn't. He was shining light on the ones that jumped off the ship into a watery grave. He was shining light on the ones that said, you know what, before I go be a slave, I'd rather die in the ocean. Right. And I'd rather sit up there and take these chains and shackles and dive to a watery abyss than to sit up there and make the decision to go over there to this other side of this continent and be a slave.
Right.
Or we can fight to the death. Or we can sit up there and say, you know what, we'll sacrifice. Let's all just kill each other right now before we let them take us over. At some point, it has to be accountability.
Accountability. And like you said, that still produces choice, right?
That's choice.
We got to make that decision. We got to say, yo, we want to live like slaves and get whipped and beat and see our daughters and stuff raped, or do we want to, revolt, join forces, revolt, fight to the death, try to make it out? Like
you had people like
had
Nat
a lot
Turner,
of people like that.
Yeah, you had people like Nat Turner who was like, you know what, I'm gonna wake up today and fight. You had people like Harriet Tubman saying, I'm gonna wake up today and run. You had people, you know what I'm saying, like, you had all these like Chicken George. They say there's rumors that Chicken George got his feet cut out, kept running, got beat, ran again,
right,
made it to freedom with, they say, 1 foot or something like that.
And you know it's crazy though that we talk about that, and those are stories we did hear growing up.
Yeah,
but now fast forward, like, I don't even believe all them shits. Just like we know Roots was fiction. Yeah. You get what I'm saying? So like a lot of these shits was made up to perpetuate and to keep a certain type of fear, amongst the people.
Well,
right?
I wouldn't say Nat Turner. I wouldn't say Harriet Tubman. I wouldn't say things like Chicken George, because what they represented was fighting even though you felt like you wasn't going to win. Chicken George was rumored, even if he wasn't real, to have ran for freedom from slavery. Master caught him, cut his foot off. Negro ran again. Yeah, I wouldn't care if that Negro fake or what. Tell him about it. The Santa Claus fake. We still go out there putting up Christmas trees.
You still tell the story, right?
Like Harriet Tubman was a woman they say was strong enough to chop down a tree. Her daddy taught her how to chop down a tree, and they say that she took the axe.
Yeah, but see, we gonna. I'm gonna say, I'm gonna get controversy with the Harriet Tubman thing, because again, that goes back to what Ye said about her. And like when you look at that, she get too much glory and stuff for something that she did that really wasn't productive, bro.
It don't matter.
Like listen, let me put it like this. Like we've been taught, right, that about Harriet Tubman and her with the Underground Railroad and running away from slavery, right? But at the same token of time, you have a white man, right, that had established and led Harriet Tubman to the Underground Railroad, which then had her free slaves to run through the North to where they became slaves in factories. Because we got to understand the Civil War, the reason why it was even fought was because the North didn't want South to end slavery because they thought the slavery was bad. No, they wanted the slaves to slave in the factories because the industrialization age was booming at that time. They like, yo, we need y'all to to abolish slavery or to end slavery so we can have these people come up here, work for pennies on a dollar in factories, slaving. This is what the fight was about. So the fact that she freed slaves through the Underground Railroad and then took them up to New York where they slaved in fucking hot factories and damn near died for pennies on a dollar. But I thought that, like,
I mean,
I'm not admiring that. You went from one slavery to the next set of slavery.
Well, you got to admire the idea of a child sitting up there saying, well, a woman was strong enough to free the slaves. That's it. I mean, I like how black people.
A woman was strong enough to take slaves to another set of slavery.
Hold on.
Let's put it in context.
I like how a lot of black people can break down and discredit, a story that we don't know if that's true or false either, because we don't know if Harriet Tubman was even true.
Right.
So
what
you just said might be what you just said might be false. Hold on. What you said might be false. Like what I'm saying, but it might be false. But the idea that even a black woman can lead our people to freedom, I'm not gonna let nobody take that away from my people.
No, you got to. You know why? Because
listen,
anything. No, I know what you're saying, but I'm telling you why you missing the point. Because any type of heroes or black, people that they put in our life as, yo, these are the people to look up to, that was given to us by white America, right? The same one that give us the fucked up education system, the same one that got us in poverty, the same one that got these, these things going on that's dictating us on the media and certain, like, they gave us certain people to look up to. They gave us Harriet Tubman. They gave us Martin Luther King. They gave us Rosa Parks. You know why? Because all those people represent no pushback. You have to understand that. They just like Harriet Tubman, right? Because we talking about choice, right?
I mean,
she could. I'm just saying, we talking about choice. She could have all got together. We're gonna go off subject when we talking like this, but it's still on subject when you pay attention. So like she got a choice where she could have got all those slaves together, and instead of running, they could have fought, right? Right or wrong? Is that not an option? We just was talking about revolting, right?
Well, we talked about Nat Turner. You said that they put him up to do the same thing. So
no, I didn't say nope. I did not say that about Nat Turner.
No, what I'm saying is you said everybody who they put in front of our face that we know to the day, they put up there. We learned about Nat Turner.
But that's not. Did I mention Nat Turner right now? I mentioned. Hold on. Let me tell you something, because I didn't learn about Nat Turner in school.
We got to edit the shit out of this video.
I ain't learned about Nat. No, we not. This is authentic. We ain't edited nothing, bro.
Because our point was our black people are greater than staying in bondage. We wasn't about the ones that we learned about, being right or wrong, or, what they was doing. The whole point before we went off on all that was
okay.
Slavery is a choice. We can get up and run. We've heard about slaves getting up and running before. That's why I brought up Harriet Tubman, just because we heard about her running. Where they ran to, where was they going to go? Were they going to go to Russia, South Africa? I mean, there was no place for them to go. They ran to where they thought where they were going to be free. That was, they didn't know where they were going to go. They didn't know to leave. They didn't have a destination. So I can't fault them for not having a specific place to go when they didn't even know where they was at. They following the stars to get to freedom.
Following those stars, man. They following the guy that said, "Hey, this the Underground Railroad." He knew where that shit was taking them to.
Okay.
So whoever the guy that led her to the
so just touching on this subject. You saying the option was for this woman to take people in the fight and die, and the revolt, which the numbers game. I try to explain to black people that it's been 30. It was 8% of us in this country while slavery was going on. 8% of us. The revolt wouldn't have lasted 2 days. That's how many more white folks it was per plantation than black people. They kept it that way strategically on purpose. So the revolting, I hate to say it was not an option.
Nah, voting was definitely an option. And so, and we're going to spend another, because we're going to go back and forth. I totally disagree with that. So we can leave it alone.
We got leave it alone. We'll edit this out.
We're not editing shit. Don't listen to DK.
Oh
what we went through was authentic. It was part of the show. It was natural. It happened. It was part of the show because none of this is scripted. So it was a part of the show because it happened now. It happened
what I'm
now.
saying is the subject was us talking about the
fine.
relation
Yeah. So
of
that's
black
why.
people
So that's
making
why.
the choice.
Right. So that's why I'm cleaning. So that's why I'm cleaning this up because
we won't talk about no slaves and what they did, what they didn't do. We talk about the fact that we as black people can wake up and not make that choice. People have been rumored. Let's clean it up. People have been rumored since black people can't give black people no credit.
No, it's not about that. Look, we're going to have a whole nother episode about the civil rights movement and the reason why I went off on that tangent talking about that whole thing, because I believe you can do something with good intentions and it have bad results. That is a fact. I'm not saying Harriet Tubman was trying to escape with slaves with bad intentions. I believe all her intentions was good. I believe Martin Luther King intentions were good. Were they productive? Were they beneficial? Was they positive for us? No, they wasn't. But was it with good intentions? I would say it was. So I'm just gonna leave it at that. So we're not gonna go back and forth on that. We're gonna get back to the Farrakhan topic, because my brother was clearly trying to just make the point that it's a choice that we can fight for the conditions that we're in, or fight against the conditions that we're in.
Yes, sir.
So before we even go there, how about we do this? Because there's a lot of Farrakhan footage that we didn't see. So first, I want to direct people to go out there and check out that PSA from Minister Louis Farrakhan. It's about 53 minutes. You can find it. It's on YouTube, and it's addressed about Ye and Kyrie and all of the controversy that's been around them lately. And within that clip, we didn't play it, but within that audio, he actually, video and audio, he actually says some things as far as the black community coming together, right? And the black community understanding that now is the time for us not to, fight amongst each other, but to embrace each other, to stop publicly, criticizing and ostracizing our brother in the public, for the benefit of other people. So it's a good message. I think everyone should listen to it. But what he said was that our identity, our culture, our language, all that shit was stolen from us. Right? It's literally stolen from us to where we didn't even know, and a lot of us today still don't even know who we are. So we're on this, this journey to continuously find out who we are, where we come from, what people we are, and obviously people did the research, and it shows from Hebrews to Negroes, right? It gives us some substance to who we are as a people. He addressed that, and then there's another rabbi who we're gonna play the video for him in a second, where he actually goes a little further from his perspective, addressing the black community, Hebrews being Negroes being the actual Hebrews, and so on and so forth. This is from a Jewish rabbi.
Africa has perhaps hundreds of millions of people with this identity right now of being from the people of Israel. Does that mean they were from the 10 tribes? Likely not. We were taught by the historians and within our own traditions that when the Romans conquered Judea, a few hundred years after the tribes of Israel went into exile, perhaps millions of Judeans were sold into slavery, into Africa, into Rome, deep into Africa. And if you look now, you're seeing people who are most likely the descendants of those slaves who kept true. I'd like to bring up a few specific examples, because they're going to be game changers. One of them wrote letters to Israel when it became a state. And they said, we're Israelites out in Africa. Everyone laughed at them, and they said, African Israelites, these people are just trying to jump on the first world country bandwagon. They're living in a third world country. They got nothing. We're coming to Israel. We got innovation, technology. So they're trying to get on this train because there's such a thing called the right of return. All descendants of the Jewish people from around the world are able to move to Israel. So they said we were also. And everyone kind of laughed at them, like I said. And a few people took it serious and went out there and started studying them, learned about their culture. And a professor from Duke University went out there and did DNA testing on them. And he showed not only do they share Semitic genes from people who were in Yemen and back to the Middle East, these gentlemen, a large percent of them, have the Y chromosome to be Kohanim, to be priests. Now, if anyone who doesn't know, a priest is a specific family clan of the nation of Israel who come from Aaron, the brother of Moses, who was the first priest. Mm-hmm. And anyone descended from Aaron has the status title priest. And we found that these men in this village in South Africa called Lemba, L-E-M-B-A, carry this genetic marker to let us know that they share the same as from the Sephardic and the Ashkenaz and the population of the people in Israel today. They share the same exact DNA marker. That's mind-blowing. So everyone kind of got humbled a little bit who laughed at them and said, now what? Now what do we do about this? This could have tremendous implications. Another area in Africa you have something big happening is in Nigeria. You have the Igbo people, or Igbo, pronounced either way. There's 40 million of them, also Christians, like I spoke about before, how that could happen to the children of Israel very easily. But also a lot of them are now coming out and converting back or adopting the rules of the Torah without all the paganism that they've been practicing for hundreds of years. There's been books written about it from scholars in Nigeria, from scholars from the Jewish people. And where it gets interesting is, in America, there was a slave trade. And a lot of the slaves, a very high percentage of them, came from Western Nigerian ports. And in America today, you see a very large movement of African Americans who say that they're the real chosen people, that they're the children of Israel, they're the Judeans. So what are they just trying to create an identity for themselves because they were slaves, or is there really something here? And the answer is, most likely there is something there. And most likely, maybe that they were the original Israelites, and maybe that the Jewish people today who are white, Caucasian people, came in a little bit later on. We know that some of the greatest sages of the transmission of the Torah were converts from Rome. You have a man named Onkelos who wrote a commentary on the Torah, unprecedented, that we still learn today. He was a convert. Some of the largest pillars on the transmission today were Roman converts. So here we are, we're Caucasian Jewish people, and now you have people in Africa saying that they're the real people of Israel. It can't be ruled out at all. We know they were sold into slavery. We know now that they're fulfilling prophecies by saying, we're coming back, we want to rejoin.
They're fulfilling prophecy. Coming back, saying, we want what's rightfully ours. It's a return of passage.
What I'm trying to understand is like, I understand that maybe our people accept a faith or a religion or a way of living, but what do they people do now?
What do who people do?
The Jewish people that are hearing, like, I assume this is at a Jewish church or some sort, or a Jewish gathering, or
probably, or could have been at a school.
Yeah, but some type of gathering.
Yeah.
So you have a man that's supposed to be your spiritual leader telling you, hey, everything we got, might be for somebody else. I mean, what do you do? What kind of move do you make? That's pretty much why I'm looking at it right now. Like, just.
Well, what you do is you start calling everybody anti-Semitic. You start calling up different.
Well, let's talk about righteously. Let's talk about righteously. Like, if I was to be a righteous person, I'd say, okay, my religion, my way of life was stolen from somebody else. They're probably going to start practicing this over the next couple of generations. What do I teach my children? Righteously. Not to be
teaching the truth.
Teaching the truth.
There's no other righteous way than
what
providing
do we
the truth.
practice now? Do we become the Christians now? Or?
Nah. Well, you've been practicing Judaism all this time. Like, continue doing what you're doing.
So
but continue doing it. No, yeah, absolutely.
We all
but you have to understand that we are, for lack of a better term, we are the fathers, right? We coming back, we claiming what's ours, and fortunately enough, we're not the type of people that look to do people the way they did us, and I'm pretty sure that we'll rightfully and righteously coexist with the current Jews without no problem at all, right? As long as it's fair, as long as we're not experiencing no racism from y'all, as long as y'all not, lifting your nose up to us because you've been in the faith for 30 years and we new converts to the faith. Well, new converts from the sense that we never practiced it before, but it is, our birthright, right? So through our ancestry, through our bloodline, through our DNA, it's our birthright, but it's like we never practiced the religion. So as long as they're not looking at us in that light and they're not treating us, like scum, I think we can coexist in that religion, with the truth. Now the problem is, can they righteously accept that? because it's not the. I don't
Sharing
think the
what
issue
they
is
stole. Can they
right,
share what they
right.
stole?
Because basically you have to relinquish all. Like you got to come up off of some of that stuff, right? Like it's no different than, if we want to go street terminology, and someone takes something from you, and then years later you come back, rightfully claim it, and you got the proof and the evidence to get it, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then they, let's just say they let you in the fold because I don't know, your great-great-grandfather started this organization that they got going on, and you wind up finding that out. And you go back and like, this, that, and third, and they let you in the fold. And now they gotta include you in the board meetings. You know what I'm saying? They gotta talk to you about that. You gotta be part of decision making. You gotta, like, are they gonna be willing to want to do that? And that's on their end, not our end. Are they gonna be righteous?
Well,
that's
shit.
the question. Are they gonna be righteous enough to accept the fact that we coming back to claim what's rightfully ours, and we're okay with y'all coexisting in this with us? But like, you're not gonna coexist in it with us as if you're superior to us. Like that's dead.
I mean, you hitting a lot of points. I mean, like this. I mean, I feel like we negotiate the table right now because I mean, basically how they held the Ye and Kyrie, it's like, nah, ain't gonna be none of that. These are my designs. This
Right.
is my platform. They're like, well, Kyrie Irving used his platform to do this. I'm like, it's his platform,
Right.
And if we was to ever get back to being equals, like, nah, stop trying to tell grown black men are the most children treated adults in America. Like, I swear, nobody is told what to do, how to do it, when to do it, what they should say, how they should say. I mean, nobody's told how they should be living their life to the T.
Right.
More than an adult black man. Everyone has instructions for you on how you should be moving, how you should be living. And I'm like, if we were to get back to, a time and place where we were respected as black men because, we were the, if Jesus would have been a black man.
Jesus is a black man.
So
Yeah.
we're going to say he is, was, what the case may be. That would mean the greatest accomplishment ever accomplished on earth, which was saving the earth from God's wrath, was done by who? A black man. That means we saved the earth. That means when you see me, you see the image of the same person that saved you from God's wrath. But you look at me and see something that's beneath you. And look at, you know what I'm saying? So I feel like just getting in society,
We not only saved the earth, but we created it as well.
I mean,
When look at
but
the first human on the face of this earth. And
Yeah.
every life stems from, comes from black life.
Yeah.
Regardless how you slice it up and look at it.
Mm-hmm.
You get what I'm saying? So therefore, we not only saved it, like you would equate that to the Jesus, right?
Uh-huh.
We not only saved it, but we populated it. We created it.
Yeah. So, like I say, in theory, we brought a lot to the earth to say that, our people have been at the bottom of the barrel this long, and for, there's not to discredit nobody else, just to say that, our people shouldn't be at the bottom of the earth. It shouldn't be an instance where I look up and I can see majority of my black people, in poverty.
Yeah.
Knowing who we really are.
Right.
That shouldn't be the case. They don't have to put us down this much. When I'm looking at the Moors, I'm looking at our ancestors, like they were willing to share everything they had. So are they willing to share everything that they've stolen? Because what we had that was rightfully ours, we shared it.
Right.
Willfully. So, the hate that they got in their heart will be exposed over these next couple of years or generations because, you're sharing something you stole.
Mm-hmm.
You're not saying something you made or you put your hard work into or you created or invented. No, you're sharing something that you stole with the person you stole it from.
Right.
So we still will be
stole a whole identity. They
Yeah.
it was like a Rachel Dolezal moment.
Yeah, so
just identity swap.
in closing, I mean, do you feel better about yourself now that you know that you're a Jew man and not a black man?
Nah, I don't feel no different than I've been feeling about myself. Right? Because
How did you feel about yourself before knowing that you were just a black man? What did that reside with you? How did you find that special spark about yourself while being, in your mind, black?
Well, I would say just research, understanding who we are, understanding the civilizations that we built, understanding the Kemetic people, the Sumerian people, ancient Egypt, knowing about the writings on the wall, knowing what we established in science and technology, like all that shit had me empowered from the time I could know that existed, which, was quite some time. So, to talk about us being Hebrews, like I always heard it. I never really dove deep into, researching it, but I knew there was some type of evidence and proof behind it. And right now, you're just hearing it more, and it's coming out more, and more people going to research the information. But ultimately, bro, like I've never looked at myself and like, oh, I'm a black man. I'm at the bottom of the totem pole. I'm inferior. Like I would say this: if I did feel that way, it probably was early on in elementary school when I was first learning about just slavery and just how basically they were saying black people didn't contribute shit to society outside of being slaves. Like at that point, yeah, I'm like, damn, like we ain't worth nothing. Like, but then once I got a little older and I'm able to read and learn other information, it's like, oh yeah, I've always been empowered as a black man. I never felt I was inferior to no other race. You know, if anything, I felt I was superior. And that's just being real.
Well, with me, it was like the one thing that made me feel superior, and I'll get back to why I was, excited about finding out, the information and why it did make me look at myself as different, because I always felt apart from my people, because a lot of the things that had my people in chains and shackles, like comprehending school, somehow, some way making $1, excelling in life, understanding the stock market, tax cuts, all these were things I used to feel like separated me from my people because I was able to do them and they weren't. So I always felt special, but I felt special over my people because I was like everybody else. You feel what I'm saying? Now, the thing that made me excited about me being a newfound Jew, man, is the fact that now I know my people special with me. That it's just their conditions that have them lacking, and God has just blessed me to be able to get over them, to do more work to help my people. You feel what I'm saying? To get over those conditions. But with me, it's like, nah, the feeling I had about me this whole time is the feeling I have for my people now. You know what I'm saying? So the expectations I have for myself, when I would go around my family and say, you know what, I'm the one that make money. I'm the one that get money in the family. Or I'm the smart one in the family. I'm the one that, got to sacrifice. Like, no, all of us are capable of that.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And you used to tell black people that. And the thing that made me excited about this newfound discovery was black people always try to make it seem like that one person in the family that was responsible was just special. You just special. Well, mama, why I always got to be the one that break bread? Why I always got to be the one that can't go outside and watch my brothers and sisters? You the one that's capable of helping.
You know why though? Because from slavery time, we always had this mindset that it could only be one.
Exactly.
So it can only be one. Like if one person, like you said, one person is successful and intelligent and doing this, that, and the third, they feel like, oh well, that was the one out the family.
That was the one out the family.
It wasn't meant for nobody else.
And so what really sparked me about this is like, nah, it's all of us.
Right.
It's not just Kobe.
Like I'm not no more special than you.
I'm not.
Right.
LeBron ain't no more special. He God's chosen son. Like I'm God's chosen son. We from the same tribe.
We just worked harder.
He just found his craft, his lane.
Yeah.
So we was all out there finding our craft and our lane. We will all see how we're all great as a people, instead of feeling like, well, I'm just the one black person from the family that made it.
Right.
So what made me excited and more confident in myself is that I knew that the people around me, I need to build them up more. I need to get them more wired to this, which is why I was talking to you earlier about, if they don't want to be awakened to it, well, leave them alone. But at the same time, I asked that question because it got me excited to say, well, hold on, I'm not the only special Negro. I got other special Negroes, right? All of us are special Negroes. Hold on, I don't have to feel out of pocket because I got money. All of us are supposed to have money. I ain't got to feel out of pocket because I got on jewelry. All of us supposed to have on jewelry. All of us supposed to be living good. I ain't got to feel bad because when I come to the family reunion, I know cousin doing bad, cousin doing bad, cousin doing bad. Nah, none of us supposed to be doing bad.
Right.
I'm not special. I'm not nothing but what God called me to be, and for some reason they can't get there. That's all that's going on. But what is missing? Knowledge of self.
Right.
Now, what I asked you earlier about yourself was what made you feel about yourself special to where, you didn't look at yourself down from the black point of view. And with me, I explained the attributes that I had that made me look special and myself special, but I never looked at my people like nothing. You can say what you want. Now that I look at this whole discovery, I can now look at my people and say, no, there's a reason. And we've been searching for the reason, because what do black people say? We need reparation from slavery. Slavery is the reason. No. That wrong religion is the reason. That wrong way of practicing your life is the reason. No. Send us the checks and we're going to keep Jesus and we'll be all right. No, dog, you not. They can keep their money and give you your real way of life and give you your real religion, give you your native tongue back. They can give you your culture back. You'll be more blessed than what you'll ever know.
So basically, are you implying that our reparations should be our birthright given back to us?
I always told people that reparation can't come in the form of currency that's not backed by nothing. Reparations is always information. So right now we're seeing what true reparations is. It's information of yourself. Reparations is any knowledge that will advance you, that will sustain you, that will keep you. That's reparations. Reparations come from
is
here.
the intelligence. No, I like that, and I'm with you on the way with that, because I feel like there's a lot of black people that will give us pushback for what we just said because they just want the money.
Man,
They're not looking at it like, yo, it's so much that you can gain from just the intelligence.
I want the knowledge to
Just
run my own
knowledge
country.
of self, knowing who you are.
I want
like,
see, knowledge of self gonna lead you to having the knowledge to get along with your people. That means you're gonna establish a culture. That means you can run a country. That means you can make your own money. And I don't mean make your own money. I mean print, like they said in Coming to America. He got his own money.
Yeah.
Yeah. I want some money with some black faces on it, man. Let's talk about that, dude. And we'll
We
never
need some,
get that
we
without
need some $100 bills with King Mansa Musa on it.
You feel what I'm
That's
saying?
backed,
Anything,
that's
you know.
backed by gold or something.
I want
a
a Whitney Houston $10 bill. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, if they gonna be doing crack or snorting something, do it with the Whitney Houston $10 bill. You feel what I'm saying? Yeah, that's what I want, and we'll never get there, man, until we understand how much we are worth. See, right now we don't even want to see a Negro with some money. So how we want to see a Negro face on some money?
That's a ball. That's a ball. I want to see a Negro with money, and I want to see Negro faces on money.
You feel what I'm
Matter
saying?
of fact, I
So-
want to see a Negro with money with Negro faces on the money.
You feel what I'm saying? So
I want to see a whole bunch of Negroes
The thing about this is like I'm not trying to be one of them dudes that come out and say, "Oh, he's gonna change overnight." No, it's not.
it's definitely not.
But I mean, come on, the first domino can knock down the rest. I mean, the first domino knock down the rest.
Right.
And
That's
my
the
uncle
domino
used to say
effect.
that. The domino effect. Hey, nephew, you ain't got to drop but one domino.
Right.
The rest
The
of
rest
them
will-
fall.
the rest will
My
fall.
dad used to tell me that. You know what I'm saying? Hey, son, you ain't got to do nothing to get started. It all fall in place. They
Right.
always just say that domino effect. All
Right.
I got to do is go out there and set it up in my mind.
Right.
And then when I take that first action,
Everything else will fall
it
down.
don't matter how long it takes. It's just
Yeah,
gonna keep
it's
going.
gonna
It'll
keep
go on
going.
its own.
That's it.
I ain't gotta do nothing else but take
and
that first step.
and it'll go down for generations.
You feel what I'm
That
saying?
intelligence
And
will
I
pass
think,
on for
and
generations.
I think that first step is expecting our sons who grow up to be men to be fathers to the sons that they have.
Absolutely.
I think our mothers need to value being mothers again. I think we need to have a value about, I don't mess with that nigga. He ain't from my side of town. You talking about the side of town that people that ran you and owned you established? No. Just because he black, that's my brother. Just because he black, I'm going to
just
stop on
'cause,
side of
yeah.
the road. And not because we in a secret society or because he from my side of town. No. There is
It's just
no
time for unity. It's no more time for hatred amongst each other. It's no more time for self-hate. It's no more time for the hate and the jealousy and the envy amongst our people. It's really time for uplifting. It's really time for cohesiveness, common unity. Just coming together overall, man. I think it's been a great show, bro.
Yeah,
been a
I
great
think
show.
black folk need to just read, man. Look, stop being afraid to read. Now, it's not the way we like to learn because we are the original Hebrews. Black people don't like to read because we learned our first language in song. So our whole first Bible was just nothing but songs that we sung all day long as children, that we sung all day long at work. So we had our religion in our heart. The same way you could download Nardo, Wick, 2 Chainz, Gucci Man, and you know all of those songs by heart. They know that about you because they know that your original language in Hebrew is a
sound.
song. It's
Yep,
song.
song music, yep.
Exactly what I'm saying. So understand, yes, it's hard to read because that's not the natural way that we interpret or learn information. We as black people or Hebrew people, we learn through song. You feel what I'm saying? So force yourself and discipline yourself to read, but before you discredit somebody like a Kyrie Irving or like a Kanye, go do your research.
Absolutely.
And force yourself to read. You can learn that song, the music songs all day long about shaking behind the club and selling packs of drugs to your homie. But you can't go sit down and just force yourself to engulf yourself in information that will give you more awareness of who you are as a person.
Absolutely.
Who you
Absolutely.
stand next to when you stand next to your brother. See, I respect him a lot more now that I know that's a Jew man. Damn what I am. That's a Jew man right there. I'm not finna shoot him. God gonna come get me for that. I'm not finna rob him. God blessed him. That's God's child right there directly. See, we can have more respect for each other now.
Right.
That we know we are Jew people.
Right.
And that was the part that just made me feel. I maybe didn't feel. I felt like you. Nah, nothing about that made me feel better as an individual. Nah,
Right,
I've been
but-
that.
but
I've been
from
that
that
nigga.
perspective,
Even
yeah.
though being a nigga, I've been that nigga, for a long time. But
Right.
when I look, I didn't feel so special amongst my
And
people. No
you know
more.
what's deep about that though? Because you said you look at him, he's like, that's a Jew man, right? I got
Yeah.
respect for him, whatever. Like, it's funny how black people have been deemed anti-Semitic, but we have had nothing but the most utmost respect for Jewish people.
This
Like
whole time.
most black people, yeah, like even growing up in Bed-Stuy, Brooklyn, New York, and Eastern Parkway is mostly Jews, Williamsburg mostly Jews. Like
keep it nice over there. Don't
yeah,
go over there.
yeah. Like we knew like yeah,
Even
like
when we preached in the
you
church.
would say little stuff like, oh, they wear the same suit all the time, but it's like at the end of the day, we knew that they were together. They was a union. They moved together. They helped their people out. And we always admired and loved that about.
We rapped about how rich they were.
Right. So
even in church, we called ourselves Gentiles, thinking that they was the real Jews.
Facts.
Let's talk about it.
Let's talk about it. So,
What
but the fact that you say, yo, now that you see me as a Jew, right? You're gonna be like, yo, I can't kill him. I got respect for him.
The respect I have for them.
Exactly.
That's the
now
respect I got for you.
Right,
now.
because just being black, we ain't have respect for each other as black because again, black is not even an identity.
Yeah.
Hebrew is an identity.
So how you gonna respect something that ain't real?
Yeah.
I can respect you as a black man because you ain't real.
You ain't even real.
You're not
like,
a
that
real
don't
black.
even
That
exist.
don't exist. So I can't respect
prior to
something.
1600, wasn't no such thing as a black man.
Exactly.
What
but
the fuck am I
if I know for a fact that hold on, this is a Jew.
That's a Hebrew man.
And I know how to respect it because I respect that title when it was other people.
Mm-hmm.
So I know how much respect to have for a Jew man because I've been respecting that title with other people.
Right.
So I know how much respect to have with you. I think it's been a great show.
Absolutely.
Man.
No, it has been, but and we're not finished yet. We're gonna give the people a little bit more time because we got to play the video from Robbie. Right? Or
that's a great closing.
Bobby? Yeah, great closing because
closing,
it comes
man.
back to tying in the unity
Yeah.
and people coming together. So if y'all remember on one of our previous, phases, we played a clip from Robbie Starbuck, right? And it was a guy that used to be in the entertainment industry, and he made an Instagram live video just talking about artists coming together and stop promoting, violence in your music and so on and so forth. And this is his part 2 video because he actually got some feedback from that. And before I even go into deep details, I'll let him address it and let you know what he's been dealing with since he's put out a PSA to unite black people. Let's go.
Everyone, I wanted to make sort of a part 2 to the video I made yesterday challenging rappers. That video yesterday has now been viewed millions and millions of times all over social media. It brought up some interesting questions I wanted to answer and also some more thoughts that I had. But first, I wanted to address something. Some people brought up the fact that there was a painting, it's an Andy Warhol painting of a gun in the background of the video that went viral. And they asked, why would you do that when you're telling people to stop perpetuating violence? And let me be very clear. Guns do not automatically equal violence, okay? I am very pro-gun. I believe in the Second Amendment. I want you to imagine a country where every home had a father and a mother in it, and that father protected the home with a gun and protected his family, his children, everything that he loves with a gun. That is a good, strong country. In fact, if you look back at history, when Black America was thriving, it had fathers in the home, it had a fantastic culture built around it, beautiful music, and it had fathers protecting their loved ones with a gun, okay? That is the country that we need to get back to, full of opportunity and filled with families taking care of each other, okay? So I hope that answers your question. I am proud to be a gun owner, and I think more people need to be responsible gun owners. And if you haven't seen the movement out there for more Black gun ownership, you need to check out Maj Toure. He's awesome. He has an organization that goes to train people and train families and to make sure that people know their Second Amendment rights and use them. Now, to address another issue, a larger issue that I thought was really interesting. So this video goes over millions and millions of views on social media and amazing reception from the Black community. People are in agreement, and I knew they would be because guess what? Black America's been saying this for a long time. We just need more people in prominent positions to speak up and to fight for them. And so I wasn't surprised by that. What I was sort of, laughing over is the fact that the only people who disagreed with what I said, which was basically an empowerment statement. I want rappers to empower themselves to change the culture because we all know the executives won't. Some people said, why don't you say this to the executives? Because we all know the executives won't do it, period. They won't. They've profited off the backs of this entire culture and, rappers perpetuating it for too long. They're not going to change. Rappers are a part of the community, and I see who they are, and I know some of them are willing to change, so that's why I put it on them to do it. Now, to get into the interesting thing I noticed that the only people who were pushing up against the message and saying, how dare you say this, people shouldn't listen, things along those lines, it was white Democrats. And you know what they were saying along with it? These were a couple of my favorite comments. I have them on screen over here, so I want to read them. One of them said, I bet you all are not aware that this guy opposes handouts. He's not someone you want to listen to. You realize how racist that statement is? As if all black people need a handout? Are black people suddenly unequal and unable to achieve their dreams without a handout from somebody? I'm sorry. I believe in a society where everybody is capable of achieving their dreams, and we don't go and say, oh, well, you're this color, so you need this first. I think that's terribly racist, okay? The second thing that came up is they said, are you going to let a white man tell you what to do? I wasn't telling anybody what to do. I had a challenge for other people. It's up to them whether they do it or not. They're empowered to make their own decision. They can continue perpetuating the culture and more people die, or they can be strong enough, brave enough, wise enough to be a leader, to be a man, and to make a change. That's on them to choose. But it also opened up some other thoughts I wanted to share with you guys. The reality is, Democrats have gotten away with this for too long. They've gotten the black vote for no reason. They don't deserve it. In fact, if you look at the history of the Democratic Party, they're the ones who were responsible for the KKK. In fact, not long ago, prominent Democrats today were shaking hands and going to the funeral and giving eulogies for a prominent Grand Wizard KKK member who then later went to Congress. Okay? These are people who also oppose civil rights. And when they try to get away with it, you know what they say? They say the party's flipped. They talk about a Southern strategy. Party's flipped. Don't you know that? That in itself is also a great lie. I challenge you, if you have bought that lie before, I want you to go search out, find what politicians switched parties. Go look. I'll wait. You're not going to find a bunch of politicians who changed parties. You know why? Because the parties didn't change. Republicans were the party that opposed slavery. They opposed the KKK. They fought them. Republican abolitionists got killed fighting for black people to be freed from slavery. Okay? Because it was the right thing to do. And now, if we go further with this, let's go further down the line. Today, this is a group, a party that supports constantly dividing and also looking down on a group of people and pretending like they're incapable of very menial, easy tasks because of the color of their skin. Let's talk about voter ID. Every time that I have brought up voter ID and every time a prominent Republican has brought up voter ID to make sure that people are who they say they are when they go to vote and to make sure that illegal immigrants don't vote in our elections, you know what Democrats say? They say, well, that's racist because black people can't get IDs. I think it's racist that you think black people can't get IDs. That's what's racist. Every black person I know has an ID. They drive, they go to the store to buy things, they buy Sudafed. You need IDs to fly. I mean, what are they really saying? Are they saying that black people have a different level of intelligence that prevents them from getting IDs? Think about how racist that is. That's who the Democrats are today. They perpetuate their entire party off of a system that needs you to be dependent on them. Because if you're not dependent on them, if you're empowered, if your community is thriving, you don't need them anymore. So who's incentivized to make sure that the black community needs them and by virtue of that needs to be impoverished, needs to be in a state of need and lack instead of a mindset of abundance? The Democratic Party needs that. So that's why now more than ever, this is the time for black Americans to rise up and to take their power. Fight for your community. Make sure that your leaders in the community are actually doing things for you and not serving some master in DC or in the government or part of the elite. Okay? Because that's what's happening right now. We have a whole lot of fake leaders, fake social justice warriors. None of them actually care. They care about pooling money off the top. Look at somebody like Shaun King, pretends to care about every issue under the sun with social justice. But who has a million pieces written about them on how they've sucked money out of all these organizations from all the donations they've gotten and profited off the backs again of black people? Let's stop this craziness and let's do the right thing. Change the culture, and you will change the outcomes for everyone. The other thing you can support is school choice, because what's one of the biggest problems in the black community outside of the violence and fatherless homes? It's education. Black kids are being given in inner cities and impoverished areas more likely than any other race terrible outcomes in education because they get terrible education options in their area. You want that to change? Republicans support school choice. That means we support giving you the money. You decide what school is best for your kid. Instead of the school in the inner city that's terrible, you get that $17,500 that's earmarked to a child in their public school in a place like Baltimore. We say, hey, here's an education savings account with $17,500. You choose what school your kid's going to go to. Then you say, you know what? I'm empowering my child. I'm sending them to that private school over there. They cost $16,800. You use the rest for lunches. Okay? That's empowerment. That will change the future. That will lead to outcomes where people who don't have a leg up end up experiencing the American dream and having all the opportunity they could imagine. I know this video is long, but I wanted to cover everything, and I still didn't cover everything I wanted to, like the fact that the government has been working against the black community for as long as I can remember. If you look at things like the Tuskegee experiments, we're talking about the government secretly going and giving black men syphilis as part of a test. They treated them like animals. That was the government. And again, you see this all over the world. These people who were praised throughout COVID and the pandemic, like Bill Gates and people in these vaccine industries, you know where they test a bunch of these vaccines? The ones that don't work out or the ones that have a lot of side effects? They test them in third world countries and in Africa, predominantly black and people of color populated areas. So they bear the brunt of that testing. Why? Again, this is a product of the elite's control mechanisms. Do you want to break out of it? You've got to break out of your own small paradigms that have been sold to you through media about who the Democrats are, who they're fighting for. They're not fighting for you. They never have been. That's why you're in at least the same position that you were previously. Some worse, most worse, honestly, under this administration. And look, I'm not saying Republicans are perfect or there's some people in the Republican Party who have sort of backwards ideas in certain areas. Sure. Okay, I'm talking about the new right, the Republican Party I represent, which is the vast majority of Republican voters. Okay, we believe in a society that is equal, full of opportunity, and free. Okay, we want to lift each other up. For so long, the idea of unity has been something that's like a mirage far away we're never going to touch. But that doesn't need to be the case. The Democratic Party and the elite have been trying to sell us on a system that keeps us at each other's throats. You know why? Because that keeps us away from their front door. Let me say that again so everybody gets it. They want to keep us at each other's throats so that we're not at their front door. They don't want accountability for them, for the elite. They want us to be busy fighting with each other over skin color. And I guess that's one of the last notes. I had a bunch of people saying, you're all going to listen to this, Caucasian. I'm Cuban. Okay. So again, this should teach you a lesson about going and judging everything on identity. Okay. You never know what people are, what their story is. What you do and are able to control is your choices. Rappers are able to control their choices that they make coming up in the future. Will they choose to change the culture? Because they have an opportunity in front of them and a social movement where the people want it. People want this to change. But the reality is, if those rappers don't take the initiative, it won't. Because it's a lot easier to keep the radio on and listen to the song than it is to make a change as a consumer. But for the people making the songs, if you all band together, that's what they fear. So make the right choice. Band together and make a change. This is the moment. This is the time. Do it.
He said a lot, but I'm only going to address the last part he just said, and I concur, no noted exception. It's time to band together. It's time to band together. It's time to make a change. And I will say this, just like, from Hebrews to Negroes, and we back to claim our birthright, our true identity. As far as politics goes, for those that are in politics, we need to go back and claim our rightful position within the political sphere, which is Republican. That was our first party. We were black Republicans, first and foremost. That's why when he spoke about the great change and all that, they did teach us about that. That was bullshit, was made up. Black people were the original Republicans. And, I'm just saying, if we're going back to get what we're entitled for, to get our birthright, to get our rightful positions, then we need to do that in every area. Not hold on to stuff that was given to us from other people in one area, but then go back and get what we want in another area. No, we should be going back claiming Hebrews. We should go back claiming Republicans. And that's just my opinion to the people. But one thing that I will state that is my opinion, but is an actual fact, is it's time for us to come together, to band together as a people, to love each other, not murder each other, not hate each other, not despise each other, but instead work with one another, lift up one another, and just make a great place for our children and children's children to exist in. And yeah, that was it. We done for the day. It's been a great show. We appreciate you. We appreciate you for tuning in with us. Those that lock in every episode, and those that, that's coming along board as the journey goes on. We're going to continue to improve. We're going to continue to get better. We're going to continue to bring you great content, and we're going to continue to push positivity to our people. Mm-hmm. It's 2 peas in a pod.
Cass.